What's up, you guys? Thank you for clicking on this video. So as you can tell by the title, we are talking some major Transformers 1 leaks from TFW 2005. There have been a lot of people seeing some of the early screenings for Transformers 1 over the last few weeks, and there's going to be even more as we head closer to the release in the next few weeks. So basically what I have here from the leaks is just people who went to go see early screenings that are giving their thoughts on the plot and stuff and what happened in the movie. So I'm going to read all of these comments and give you guys my thoughts on the stories and the leaks we have here, as always. So first up here, somebody asks, how heavily inspired by TF Prime is the music / soundtrack? And Razor X3000 replies here, heavily. So that makes a lot of sense considering the guy who did the score for Prime is doing the score for Transformers 1 here, so I'm really excited to see how that turns out. Next up here, somebody asks, how was the score of the movie? And JS Prime replies, score is great. It's like Brian Tyler never left Transformers. So very reassuring that this score is going to be very much in line with Transformers Prime and probably absolutely peak. So I cannot wait. I cannot wait to hear this score. Hopefully it's fantastic. And then we get into some more nitty-gritty story stuff here. Hooper X9 talks about some Megatronus stuff here, and he says, and I quote, he's not a traitor or the Fallen or anything like that. He's just one of the Primes who are allegedly the firstborn children of Primus, but they end up getting punked and betrayed, so they're not immortal or anything. They're just powerful Transformers. The film does a pretty decent job of explaining why Megatron identifies with him, and a really good job of explaining his likeness becoming the faction symbol. So that's good. You know, the whole faction symbol thing really isn't explained sometimes in Transformers lore, so I'm glad they're kind of explaining that in this movie. And the whole thing with him not becoming the Fallen in this iteration of Transformers is interesting. Obviously, we don't know for sure yet. Maybe they're going to say he did turn into the Fallen in a sequel, because I'm pretty sure this is just an introduction to the character and they don't really delve into all of his story. So maybe he does become the Fallen and we just don't know yet. But from what we gather here, he's not the Fallen, he's not a bad guy, he's just one of the Primes and one of the best. So this is interesting. You know, it's a different take on Megatronus that we're not really used to, but it could be good if handled right, and it seems like it will be handled right. So somebody asks, do we see the Autobot insignia in the movie and the origin of it? And I forgot to screenshot whoever replied with this, so I don't know who you are, man. I'm sorry about that. But the person says no Autobot insignias yet in the movie. So I'm not really mad at this per se. It's really not that big of a deal. But it would be nice to maybe see the faction symbol, since we see how the Decepticon one is made in this movie. But definitely if Transformers 1 does well and we get a sequel, we're obviously going to see that Autobot insignia get made. So I'm not really too mad at this, to be honest with you. So somebody asks, what's with the race? Does Sentinel want to keep Cybertronians entertained and ignorant with different games? And Fate Lift 1987 replies here with, Sentinel comes back from an expedition being a lie, as we'll soon find out, and he tells them the search for the Matrix has been not successful. However, since the 50th cycle year anniversary of the Transformers and Cogless being underground, he holds the Iacon 5000 to give them a bit of fun. So, Sentinel, he's crazy in this movie. We're gonna find out a little bit later on down the line how he's basically Dark of the Moon Sentinel. So yeah, this is good. This is sounding like some nice tea for the movie here. I'm excited for this. Somebody asked here, does Zeta Prime really appear and what role did he have? Heavy Iron replies with, one of the previous Primes had the Matrix, Sentinel killed him. So similar to his War for Cybertron counterpart, but interjecting the whole Sentinel villainry in here, which is pretty cool. I'm really excited to see how they handle Sentinel as basically the main villain in this movie. So somebody asked a couple questions here, and RazorX 3,000 replies. I almost said 13, what the hell? So he asks here, are the 13 gods? If not, what makes them so special? What is Sentinel's relation to the 13? How does he end up a Prime? How much screen time does Optimus and Megatron get in their final forms? And what caused the physical changes and eye color change of D16? And RazorX 3000 replies here with, more like god-like figures, they're just souped-up Transformers. I think he was just simply a new Prime, like he was born into that class and simply made a new young Prime. Not much, probably 10 minutes if that. Similar to Star Wars, Megs fully embraces the dark side by letting Orion fall to his death and then continues to rip Sentinel in half. That causes the eye change. The physical upgrades come from him taking back Megatronus' cog from Sentinel's corpse and putting it in himself. Oh my goodness gracious. All the other stuff is cool and all. I'm not mad at that. That's good to know, and it just makes the movie even cooler to me. But number 4 here is absolutely insane. I've always thought about the Decepticons and their eye colors changing and their overall physical features changing to be more evil. I always thought it was like this by how Star Wars did it, but they never explained it really in any other form of media until now, it seems like. I am so excited for this. If you guys, are into my own Transformers lore, this is basically how I explain how Decepticons get their eye color and how they look more evil than the Autobots. So I'm really excited and just happy that Josh Cooley and everybody else who worked on this movie is taking that exact same route, because I've wanted that to be explained and shown in Transformers media for so long now, and the fact that we're getting this is absolutely fantastic, and it shows that these people care and are actually listening to the fans of this movie. So this is a really good plot point here. I cannot wait to see this in theaters. So Heavy Iron here gives a full list of the names he remembers from the Iacon 5000. He says here, Dead End, Tailgate, Chromia, Behemoth. He thinks this is a new character. Darkwing, Silverbolt, Motormaster, Skyfire, and Silverbolt. Nice little list here. I think we did see some of these in the new Iacon 5000 clip, but some of these are also new that we haven't seen yet to the general public. So Behemoth, that sounds like a cool new name. Hopefully we get to see this character at some point, whether it's in this movie franchise or within a comic book or cartoon or something. Dead End, Tailgate, that makes sense. Chromia makes sense, kinda. Darkwing, he's usually a flying character, so this is interesting. So it seems like they're either going the animated route where they don't have any flying vehicle forms yet, which I don't think is true, because we did see flyers in the trailers. Silverbolt, same way. Maybe the Decepticons are flyers and the Autobots aren't just yet, similar to what they did in animated. Or maybe they're just letting flyers into this race. We don't know yet. Motormaster, Skyfire, and another Silverbolt. So this is interesting, a nice little list here, and it raises some questions about the overall plot and story for this new iteration of Transformers. What's going on here with the flyers, with the Autobots and the Decepticons, whether they're pulling from animated or not. So just gonna have to wait and see with that. Shadow25 talks a little bit about Starscream's voice with the plot, and this is fantastic. He says, I loved what happened with Starscream's voice, with how it was classic Buscemi, and then when Megatron choked him out, it gave him the scratchy voice effect that evoked G1 Chris Latta. Fantastic detail. That is a fantastic detail. Just the fact that they're explaining Starscream's voice in terms of actual story, that is amazing, because we all just thought that was just Starscream's voice. He just sounds like that. He was born like that, But the fact that they're actually putting this into the story somehow and making Starscream's voice that way from a little plot detail, that is absolutely amazing. And I really want to know the context as to why Megatron chokes him out. Probably classic G1 fashion between the relationship of Megatron and Starscream, but I just want to know, because this detail is absolutely amazing in my opinion. JS Prime answers a lot of questions here. Someone asks, is there any hint of any kind of romance between Optimus and Alita? He says here, just comrades. Someone asked, do we see Hot Rod? No, though his name can be spotted on the leaderboards for the Iacon race. And another person asked, do we see Magnus? And JS Prime replies with nope. So it sucks a little that we don't see Magnus, but it is what it is. We already get so many characters and plot points in this movie. They're probably saving it for the sequel, which is fine. Only seeing a name drop for Hot Rod, I'm not really mad at either. Again, we see so much in this movie that they're probably just saving some of the good stuff for sequels, which I'm totally fine with. And the whole Optimus and Alita romance not being in this movie, I could care less. I really don't care about romance with Transformers robots. So I'm kind of glad that they left this out and they're just very good friends. That's kind of how I prefer it, because I don't know, a love bond in terms of like an intimate relationship between Transformers just doesn't make sense to me. So I'm totally fine if they just leave this out of the lore with this particular Transformers iteration. But if they do sort of delve into that in sequels, I wouldn't really care either. I just prefer that they just leave that out, because it just doesn't make sense to me that robots are in an intimate relationship with each other. I don't know. It just never really clicked with me. So I'm glad with that. Someone asked here, what do the Quintessons want with Cybertron? What are they planning to do with Sentinel Prime's help? Razor X3000 replies here with, they're forcing the Transformers to mine for Energon and use it for their own gain. We don't know yet what specifically they do with it. This is cool. This is a nice little story, plot point, kind of setting it up for the sequels, because the Quintessons aren't really the main villains of this. They're kind of more like a side villain, and it seems like Sentinel and, to a lesser extent, Megatron are the two main villains of this movie. So the fact that they're setting it up this way just makes sense. They kind of allude to it in previous iterations, but it's never really, I mean, it is delved into, but it seems like they're going in more of explicit direction with it, and we're going to be seeing more of how the Quintessons are with the Transformers in sequels, which is really cool in my opinion. This is something big right here. Somebody asks, is Primus in the movie? And Razor X3000 says yes, and he puts up a picture of the Cybertron 2005 Titan class Primus, and he basically looks like him, he's saying. This is fantastic. We're getting Unicron Trilogy designs for Primus in this movie. Are you kidding me? These people, the people that worked on this movie, Josh Cooley and whoever else, they are true fans of this franchise. You could just tell. Using the Cybertron Unicron Trilogy design for Primus as opposed to the G1 version or whatever other iteration you want to throw out there is absolutely fan service 1000%. This is amazing. I cannot wait to see Unicron Trilogy Primus in theaters. This is amazing. Somebody here asks, is Sentinel Prime redeemable? Razor X3000 replies with, he is far worse than Dark of the Moon Sentinel. At least that version of him wanted better for Cybertron. Sentinel and TFO couldn't give less of an F as long as he was king. Yo, this is insane. They're taking it a step further than Dark of the Moon in a PG movie. This sounds good. I am game for this. I want to see Sentinel be the most crappy Transformer on Cybertron. User Prowl here explains a bit of the relationship between Megatron and Prime in the movie. He says here, Megs and Prime are close buddies and have each other's back, but Megs is very respectful of the order and leadership of Sentinel and trusts that he has Cybertronians' welfare at heart, but learning the truth breaks him. I don't want to go too much deeper than that. So yeah, this is cool. This is very nice how they're handling the fall of Megatron, the relationship between Prime and Megatron. It's kind of the opposite of what we see with Megatron in past iterations. He's pretty much usually just against the government altogether, but right here it seems like he's a fan of the leadership and then grows to hate it because of how scummy Sentinel is. So that's a cool little switch up there. It's a little different than what we usually get, so I'm totally game for this. And that about leaves it for some of the spoilers that I found on TFW, some of the main ones at least in my opinion. So yeah guys, this movie sounds like it's going to be pretty good. I cannot wait to see it next month. Let me know down in the comments below, what do y'all think about all these plot points here in the spoilers? Do you like it? Do you hate it? All my social medias are linked down below, along with my email if you guys want to hit me up about business inquiries, or if you want to message me about whatever, or if you want to commission a diorama from me, because I make dioramas for people for their stop motions photography or just regular display shelves in your homes. You can either hit me up on any of my social media accounts or just email me and we can work out a deal. But yeah guys, thank you for watching this video. Catch y'all in the next one. Bye!